Good morning, everyone. My name is Sharmila Curry, and I'm delighted to be your worship associate this morning. Although the doors of our building are closed to do our part in helping to prevent the spread of disease, we are still a vibrant congregation with open minds, spirits, and hearts. This morning, I welcome you into my home and the homes of this morning's music director, our board member, our host, Colleen Glass, our Director of Religious Exploration, and the Tisarana Monastery. Thank you for welcoming us into your home. Normally, if you would like more information about FirstU, it would be available at the welcome table at the back of the pews. However, while the FirstU building is closed because of the COVID-19 virus, you may instead contact us through email at welcome@firstunitarian.ca. I repeat, for more information, please email us at welcome@firstunitarian.ca. After this service and future services, our normal hospitality hour will be replaced by a virtual getting together. If you would like to join us for the hospitality hour on Zoom, please see our website, www.firstunitarian.ca, or our weekly email newsletter, the EUU, for information on how to do so. It is a beautiful thing to think that even though we are in separate places, protecting ourselves and others by staying away from a crowd, here we are together, online, listening, connecting, and soon singing. I hope this moment finds you well. A few more announcements. While the building is closed, staff are working remotely and are monitoring emails during the usual working hours. Phone calls will be checked less regularly, so please do email for a quicker response. As we won't be seeing each other in person, it is more important than ever to sign up to receive the EUU, our weekly email newsletter. Check our Facebook page and our web page for notices and updates. Our online calendar is as full as ever. Given that it is National Capital Pride Week, I would like to remind everyone that Ottawa's virtual Pride Parade will be live streamed today at 2 p.m. Please check that out at capitalpride.ca. Today we welcome our guest speaker, the Abbot of the Tisarana Monastery. Colleen Glass will introduce the speaker on behalf of the Wednesday evening mindfulness meditation group. Whatever your heritage, whatever your faith, whomever you love, and however you identify, today you are part of our spiritual community. Welcome. We hope you come back often. Some opening words. Every day brings struggle. Every day brings joy. Every day brings us the opportunity to ease the struggle of another, to be the joy in another's life. May this flame remind us to carry our light to each other and to the world. Please join us in singing the chalice lighting song.
Chalice, chalice, burning bright, help remind us with your light of how we'd like to live each day with love and truth helping lead the way.
Happy Sunday to everyone. It's Neo, your Director of Religious Exploration. Today I'm sharing with you a story titled I Am Peace, a Book of Mindfulness. There are times when I worry about what might happen next and what happened before. The thoughts in my head are like rushing water, and I feel like a boat with no anchor, being carried away. I give myself a moment, I take a breath, and then I tell myself it's all right. I feel the ground beneath my feet and steady myself. The here and the now. My thoughts begin to settle, my mind begins to clear. I am peace. I can watch my worries gently pop and disappear. I let things go. I can say what I feel inside out loud. I know myself. I can share kindness with others. I make a difference. I can hug a tree and thank it for its beauty and strength. I connect to nature. I can watch the clouds make shapes against the sky. I know wonder. I can taste and smell and touch and hear and see what is all around me. I use my senses. I can feel my breath fill my whole body. I tune into me. Now the water is still, I have found my anchor, and everything is all right. I don't need to worry about before or after. I am in this moment. I am peace. Now I share my peace with others. And hope that it is carried away to those who need it. And I dream. We are peace.
Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out out love when I breathe in. I'll breathe in peace when I breathe out. I'll breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out.
This is the time in the service when we are drawn closer to one another, to the heart of love at our center, where we hold those both near and far, loved ones and strangers in our hearts. This morning, I would like to place a pebble in the water for Alexandra and Jim Devine, offering congratulations on the occasion of their 60th wedding anniversary on September 3rd. I would also like to place a pebble for Francis Deverell and Ron Wilson, who always enjoyed participating in Ottawa's Pride festivities. Yes, it will be virtual this year, but they will be thinking of past parades with everyone at FirstU and the Fellowship. I have another stone, which I will place in the bowl for Harmony's Grandma Sue, in the hopes she has a smooth recovery from eye surgery. And I will place one last pebble in the bowl to symbolize all of the joys and concerns that lay buried deep within our hearts. Some words for meditation from Elena, Westbrook. Let every moment be a prayer. With every sip of tea, let your lips move in thanksgiving. Be fully present to every stroke of the hairbrush, every cup of milk you pour for the children. Be present without judgment or regret, without plans or expectations, or even dreams. And every moment becomes a prayer. Let us share in a moment of stillness.
Good day, my name is Colleen Glass, and I hope you're all well and interested to hear today's speaker, Ajahn Viradhammo, a Buddhist monk. We are reminded that the beliefs of individual Unitarian Universalists range widely. Unitarians lay emphasis on reason in interpreting the scriptures, so freedom of conscience and freedom of the pulpit are core values in our tradition. On behalf of the Wednesday evening mindfulness meditation group at First Unitarian, and as a member of the Ottawa Buddhist Society, it is my great privilege and honor to introduce Ajahn Viradhammo, the Abbot of Tisarana Monastery. I am grateful to FirstU for this opportunity to share his reflections, and to Ajahn Viradhammo for his great generosity in accepting this invitation. Ajahn, formerly Vitaris Akers, was born in Germany in 1947 to Latvian refugees who later moved to Toronto when he was 4 years old. Around 1969, while traveling in India, he met a young Buddhist initiate who introduced him to the teachings of the Buddha. And so he continued his travels to Thailand to learn more. In 1973, with direction from Ajahn Chah, a respected Theravada meditation teacher, he took bhikkhu ordination and his name changed to Veradamo. Ajahn, which means teacher, spent 4 years as one of the first residents at Wapa Nanachut, the International Forest Monastery in northeast Thailand. Ajahn Chah then asked him to join a senior American monk, Ajahn Sumedho, in England. The teachings of the Buddha came west, and for the next quarter century, Ajahn V helped establish teaching monasteries in the UK and in New Zealand. During these years, Ajahn Chah made several trips to Ottawa to visit his mother, who was living on Bronson Avenue at the time. Eventually, he stayed and cared for her for 9 years. It was during this rich teaching period at a 1995 meditation retreat where I first time had the privilege of having tea with this kind and humble man. In 2005, at the invitation of the lay communities in Ottawa and Toronto, he established Tisarana, a Thai forest monastery west of Perth. And so it was on a sunny day in late July that Marianne O'Hagan, Sherry Watson, and I drove out to Tisarana to speak with Ajahn Viradhammo. After offering food or dana to the monks, we met Ajahn in a large open-air tent, where you will see we practice social distancing. I edited our hour-long conversation for this Sunday service, which highlights 2 questions. Number 1, what is the difference between meditation and mindfulness as it brings us to transcendence or nirvana? And 2, how do you keep peace of mind while you are at war with injustice? Marianne, Sherry, and I hope you will enjoy meeting Ajahn Viradhammo via YouTube. May all beings be well, may all beings be at ease. May it be so.
The broad word, and now mindfulness has become a very common word. So let's say this, that the most important aspect, I think, of spiritual path is awakening to how things are right now. And so that if I'm lost in thought, or I'm worried about the past, or worried about the future, and I'm not really aware of the way things are, I'm not present to the way things are, then I don't think any spiritual work can be done, and nothing authentic can be known, because that whole way of thinking is secondhand, it's conditioned. And our path in say Theravada Buddhism is to realize the unconditioned. And the unconditioned is the way we talk about transcendence. And there's a whole language in Theravada Buddhism around that principle. So we have, as you know, I've talked to you about it, but the unconditioned, the uncreated, the unoriginated, the unformed, deathless, peace. So that whole language is what the Buddha realized. That was his realization. So whether we talk about mindfulness or meditation or whatever, the Buddha's teaching was one which offered a path to that realization that he had. So the whole point of the exercise, of the project of spirituality in Buddhism, is to come to the same realization that the Buddha came to. So there's the unconditioned, the uncreated, the unoriginated, the unborn. And if my attention is always preoccupied with conditions, with emotions, with thought, with relationships, with all the manner of things that we get up to as human beings, then that preoccupation precludes the possibility of realizing the unconditioned, because I'm always caught up in the conditioned realm. We need to live in the conditioned realm. We need to work. We need to put food on the table. We need to help each other. So that is covered in saying Buddhist teaching around the simple idea: do as much good as you can and as little harm as you can. So that's basically lifestyle, and that's pretty good. You just do that. That would be great. But the third part is to realize the unconditioned. So that's where the teachings around mindfulness or awareness or meditation, they're not about controlling the objective realm. Like if you prepared a meal for us, then you're controlling the objective realm. You're buying onions and you're cooking rice or whatever you're doing. So you're involved in the objective realm in order to create a product which then you can offer to us as a meal. The idea of meditation is not that. It's not an exercise in the object. It's an exercise in knowing the awareness itself. And that's why it's transcendent. It's not an exercise to control the emotions or to get some kind of a product, because all products or all experiences are contingent, are conditioned, suffer birth and death. Right? So they change. So if my attention is always on the change, I have to pay attention to the things that are changing. I have to watch the flame of the gas stove to make sure I don't burn the food. So I need to do that. But if that's all I'm doing, I'm always engaged with the objective world in trying to get things done or just in distraction, then that would not be meditation. So some people meditate in order to control their mind, but that would not lead to the unconditioned. It would simply lead to an experience of tranquility, which would change when I couldn't hold on to the object of meditation. So if you come back to why the Buddha taught, this is important to me. Then you get the context of his teachings around meditation. Why did he teach? Because he wanted to show us that there's a peace, transcendent peace, which isn't dependent on experience. It doesn't. You can be at peace whether you're sick or whether you're healthy, whether you're successful, whether you're a failure, whether you're a man, you're a woman, you're young, you're old, you're Romanian, you're Latvian, you're Canadian. All those are simply the objective world and the conditions of the world. But awareness is not a condition. Awareness knows conditions, but it's not a condition. So awareness knows happiness, awareness knows unhappiness. And that's why we would say it's a gateway to the unconditioned. So then the question on mindfulness and meditation is more not one of getting a kind of fixed definition around words. It's more like, why do you meditate? Or why do you practice mindfulness? What's your intention behind it? So when I'm in the workshop and I'm working with a table saw, I'm mindful, but I'm concentrated because I might lose my fingers or I'm making a bad cut and so on. So that's more like concentration, and that's necessary for me to do decent work in the workshop. But the gateway to the deathless means that I'm not really concentrating on objects. I'm using the objective world to sustain an awake attitude to life. So I can be aware with fear, I can be aware with peace, I can be aware with pain, I can be aware with happiness, I can be aware with grapes, I can be aware with cherries, right? So the awareness isn't dependent on the food, on the emotion. And if I can sustain that awareness for spans of time where I'm not attached to the objective world, I'm not trying to sort out the objective world, I'm not trying to get one emotional state as opposed to another emotional state, I can practice a sense of watchfulness. I like those two words from Jean Klein, watchfulness and availability. So let's say if an emotion of resentment comes up, and I can witness that as something that comes and goes, then that awareness transcends the resentment. I am not that resentment. It comes and goes because of causes and conditions. And as I sustain that awareness on change, then I realize, there's the unchanging. There's the unconditioned, the uncreated, the unoriginated, the unborn. And awareness is the gateway to that. Awareness is like it is like the entrance to this tent. You could say that's the entrance, and there's the outer space and the inner space, but the gateway participates in both spaces. Right? It's neither in or out, it's neither this nor that. So that's what awareness is. It's the gateway to the transcendent. But when you say the transcendent, then that already sounds like an object, right? And then you're in trouble. So this is where language gets very, very difficult, and that's where you have to let go of language and trust, in a Buddhist sense, I think, trust in awareness. Awareness of what? Awareness of change. Because if I can notice things changing and not attach to them, not get preoccupied with them, I begin to sustain that sense of stillness, which reveals to me this deep silence, which is consciousness, which is behind consciousness, whatever you want to talk about it. So it's not a matter of, this is where language gets very difficult. Because if you say the transcendent, then that sounds like an object, and you start to look for an object called the transcendent. So in this sense, you begin to say, well, awareness of change is not a thought. And as you do that, you realize, oh, behind thought, behind the sense of personality, behind all of the emotional movement and all of that, there is this ongoing, ineffable, unchanging, silent consciousness. And that's what awareness takes you to. So if mindfulness or meditation is taking you to that, or revealing that, then I would say, yeah, that would be my sense of what the Buddhist path is about. If mindfulness is simply concentration, well, that's the workshop. That's okay too. If meditation is simply holding the mind on an object and making it still, but then when you go into the ordinary world, you're all in turmoil, so what's the point of it? But if the meditation serves this capacity to be aware, and then you go into the complex world, and it's the same awareness, and the complex world or the simple world no longer they don't matter so much anymore. So one of the errors people make in meditation is they think that by controlling the mind and making it very, very silent through holding on to an object, that they've got something. But anything you get, you're going to lose. So that's a trap I think we've all been into in meditation. Whereas awareness, it's not something that has quality or quantity. It is, just is. And the delusion of meditation sometimes is that I've got this thing now called silence, but all that's happened is the mind has just been tranquilized by holding attention on an object for long spans of time. And some people can do that very well, and it's rather tragic, because they absorb into something and they're very good at that, but then they come into normal life and their emotions can still be quite immature or they can still suffer a lot. So what we emphasize is more, well, look at suffering. Meditate on suffering rather than just trying to get an object to calm the mind and tranquilize the mind. Contemplate why you suffered. What's the cause? Where does it come from? How does it arise? How does it create ego? And learn to let go of the causes. And if you let go of the causes, which are attachment to this whole realm of change, then you begin to sense this ineffable silence, which has no description. You can't.
Well, of course, so that deathless that you talked about is this ineffable silence.
I would say, yeah. And nouns are not good here. You know, like, what is it? I don't know English language. I love present part. Verbal forms are kind of better, aren't they? But, you know, if you say the deathless, it's like the transcendent, and you try to find the deathless. And any seeking to find something is time. And we say that the ineffable silence is timeless. It's not a matter of time. We say it's akaliko, it's here and now, not a matter of time. So that's the error that people make. They look for the transcendent in time, but that can't possibly be it. It has to always be here and now. And that's the language we try to use to get ourselves in a state where we're no longer becoming or getting rid of, but we trust in the sense of awareness of change within a very good lifestyle. Do as much good as you can and as little harm. If you didn't have that, then it wouldn't work, because then it could become kind of selfish. So the context is good morality and a life of generosity and so on. And then this curiosity, well, what did the Buddha realize? And how might my spiritual practices come to that same realization?
One of the things with Unitarians and Unitarianism, as Sherry said, is a real commitment to social justice. And so that seems to offer, can be a challenge to keep peace of mind when you're at war against injustice.
Yes.
And you want to have social change.
Yes.
That's a condition that is not acceptable, right? So how do you work with all that?
Well, I think you make your social justice issues that you're working with in society your monastery. Okay? So the idea of the monastery is that we're not perfect. We're flawed beings like everyone else. But the monastery is the social situation within which we surrender, give ourselves to, and all the precepts that involves, and the hierarchy and the training and such like. And then within that we watch greed, hatred, and delusion. The liking, the disliking, the boredom, the whatever. So the same thing, if you take social justice as your monastery, so let's say I decide to work for the urban poor, and I want to make sure that the urban poor have good health care and good nutrition and housing, something like that. Okay, then I have to go to council, I have to raise money, I have to do all of that, and within that, that's the objective world that I'm now working in. But within that, I begin to feel frustrated, or angry, or elated, or disappointed. All that different movement goes on, and I use that those very difficulties to find the state of awareness. So if I go to the counselor, and I'm appealing to the city council for more funds for housing for urban poor, and the counselor is very dismissive. Say, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about," and I feel angry or hurt. Then okay, how can I be aware with anger, aware with the feeling of being hurt, and not create an ego around it, not create a sense of self around it? Do the best I can, but within the doing, there's both the objective social work I'm doing, but there's also the inner work I'm doing of taking responsibility for my attachments to the objective world. My it's unfair, it's not fair, I'm doing really good work, or being exhausted and being fed up with it, and all of that becomes, can I be aware with being fed up? Can I be aware with exhaustion? Can I be aware with anger? And if in each of these instances I take awareness as my refuge, then the power of anger, the power of disappointment, the power of depression recedes. And what manifests more and more is the silence of awareness. So the social work I'm doing becomes the very the very, very challenge which I'm using for my inner work. Now, if I take the external work as goal-oriented all the time, I'm going to get really disappointed, right? And I'll think, I should have become a monk or something else. or gone to Tahiti. And so that's the problem with social work, is when the external objective becomes primary. But if you make your heart primary, then you'll do very good work, but you may not be successful. But that's not the project. The project isn't success. The project is to realize the unconditioned within the complexity of social responsibility and doing. So like I said, so your monastery then, your container, the vehicle that you're working in is this particular city councilor or this particular committee meeting. So you're at a committee meeting, let's say, and you have 12 people and one person is just very verbose. And you probably never had that, right? and you're sitting there and getting really, why does he shut up? When's he going to be called? I've got an appointment. And they go, you're not aware. You're not aware that you're reacting and so on. Then you see yourself reacting. Awareness with reaction. Now, the idealized mind, like the really heedless mind, would just react. right? And then feel all stressed out, and okay, that's one way. But the idealized mind, oh, I shouldn't be reacting. I really love this person, but actually I hate them at that moment, right? But the aware mind, oh no, this is aversion feels like this, restlessness feels like this, impatience feels like this, and you're just with it all the time, and that keeps taking you back to the silence of the heart. So the committee meeting now, and that very person who was annoying to you becomes your vehicle for going to the unconditioned. You see what I mean?
I see what you mean, and yet in the back of my mind it's but am I going to make any difference? Is what I'm doing in terms of this social, is it actually going to change anything?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
It's not the object.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, you want to do good,
Right.
so do your very best. And if it doesn't work out, because if that's the objective, that I am, then it's still egotistical. I am someone who will have an effect on this troubled planet. That doesn't matter, yeah. Because you want to do good, you do good, you do the best you can. And if you get thrown in jail for doing the best you can, that's your practice. You know, I mean, it won't happen, but
Yes.
so it's always, you see, so what we're doing is we're making this inner primary, but it's not in a way of neglecting society or rejecting society. No, it's just that we can do this work as well as that work, and actually become more effective, I think, because we're not reactive.
That's a huge shift.
Yeah, but it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
And then you have,
Otherwise you burn out.
you
right?
burn out, and then you feel bitter at the end of it.
And you still don't accomplish anything.
Even so. And that's tragic. You know, I've seen social workers who come into it very young, very committed, and after 15 years they feel embittered because it didn't work out the way they wanted. And their intentions were good, but their modus operandi was about the external,
Yes.
right?
May all things be happy. May all things be safe. May all things everywhere be free. May all things be happy. May all things be safe. May all things everywhere be free. May all things be happy. May all things be safe. May all things May all things everywhere be free.
This is the time in our service that we usually accept the offering. You may go to our website or contact our finance manager to find out how you might help keep up with your pledge or make a donation during these times. We give these gifts freely. We receive these gifts gratefully. We dedicate these gifts to the work of our congregation, serving human wholeness, caring for the planet, upholding religious freedom, welcoming the stranger, loving one another. Our closing words are from Cynthia Landrum. Be true, be well, be loving. We leave this gathered community, but we don't leave our connection. Our concern, our care for each other, our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, be loving. Let us sing Spirit of Life.